You Don't Look the Gifted Fox Between the Tails, Chapter 4. Tails couldn't tell how much time had passed since he was captured. If he wasn't so exhausted, he would have probably been more annoyed by that fact. He always prided himself with his brain. Not that he was boasting how smart he was, but he long has noticed he was a lot smarter than most his age, and even some older than himself. He had a knack for technology, always tinkering at something and building devices from scratch. He could do complicated calculations in his head and was pretty knowledgeable on the subject of science. And yet, he couldn't tell how long he was aboard Robotnik's airship. He lost count of the times he passed out, his mind going fuzzy after the first few times. He didn't know how long he was unconscious. The pain in his limbs from being hung upright was no indication, and was constant now, never leaving and always there. He was on the ground now, the metal clasps retracting when Robotnik decided he'd had enough fun for a while. Tails didn't know how much time had passed since the man left. The screens were turned off and there was no way to tell the time in the place he was held captive. It was always dark, no matter the time of the day. Tails brought his knees closer to his chest and wrapped his arms around them. His twin tails curled around his body protectively. He leaned against the glass wall. For the first time since he could remember, he felt like a child he truly was.
"Please save me,"
he whispered, hiding his head in his arms. It's been 3 days, 3 days of searching for any leads to Robotnik's whereabouts, 3 days of turning up too late, only seeing the destruction the Mad Doctor had left behind, 3 days of Tails being held prisoner by the deranged man.
Darn it!
Sonic's fist collided with the table, glasses clinking upon the impact. What?
How does he always manage to escape before we get there?
It must be the Master Emerald.
Knuckles replied, evilly frustrated.
Used its power to construct his airship. He must have given it more speed than usual vehicles.
He's a coward? He's hiding away instead of coming out and facing me in an open field.
Sonic explained angrily. Maddie, who was sitting in the living room, having already come back from her shift, sighed but didn't say anything. Instead, she drew another dot on the world map spread before her. She closed the marker and stared at the paper thoughtfully.
"Can someone fetch me a pencil?"
She called out. Soon enough, Sonic rushed in, pencil in hand.
You found something?
He asked hopefully.
"I'm not sure, Sonic."
The woman replied, tapping the map with the pencil. Yep.
"I want to check something though."
The map was full of dots, each representing a place the Robotnik has hit with his newest weapon. Maddie stared at it for a moment longer, before lowering the pencil and connecting the dots. It took several tries, erasing the lines and drawing new ones. Knuckles joined the two in the living room, as did Tom, who soon came back from work as well.
"Does that look like anything to you?"
Maddie asked, finishing another attempt to connect the dots. Everyone looked down on the map thoughtfully, trying to make sense of the symbol. Hence,
What if?
Tom grabbed the pencil and added several more lines to the picture. They gasped, staring at the finished symbol.
That self-centered, egotistical monster.
Sonic growled, bringing his fist down. On the map, there was a picture of an awfully familiar person with glasses and a maniacal grin.
Only Robot could have thought of something like this.
Tom shook his head in disbelief.
But what does it tell us?
Knuckles questioned, eyes locked on the map. They all leaned over, until Maddie tapped a point on the map.
"There's one place he hasn't been to yet."
She exclaimed.
"We know his next target."
We can get there before him and get back Tails.
Sonic added enthusiastically.
And the Master Emerald.
The Echidna clenched his fist.
It's been in his possession for far too long.
Looks like we have land.
Tom put his hands on his hips.
Next.
A golden ring portal appeared in the middle of the forest. 4 figures stepped through, looking around warily.
Looks like he's not here yet.
Tom commented.
I just hope we're in the right place.
His wife added, concerned.
This might not be the biggest place, but if he'll be on the other side.
Then me and Knuckles can get to him before he escapes.
Sonic assured, determination in his eyes.
And this time we're not letting him get away. Not until Tails is safe.
Tom nodded in agreement.
No eyes on the scout, people. Let's find that airship.
They didn't have to wait long. Only half an hour later, the familiar egg-shaped airship lowered from between the clouds.
What's the plan now?
Madison asked as they looked up.
There's no way we can get on board from down here.
Sonic stared at the airship, remembering the last time they saw it, remembering Tails' terrified eyes as he was pulled up and inside.
Guys, I have an idea.
He started, looking back at his family.
I feel like I'm not going to like it.
Madison frowned at him.
He wants me right, so let him get what he wants.
The hedgehog explained carefully.
And once I'm on that ship, I can rescue Tails and get us both out of there.
Absolutely not.
Both Tom and Madison shouted, horrified.
Sonic, you're not doing this alone.
Tom said, crossing his arms.
I will go with him.
Knuckles spoke up.
Together we might have a high chance of success.
But Sonic.
Maddie argued.
He's not interested in either of you.
Sonic reasoned.
He might go for Knux or, sorry to say this, completely useless to him. It's up to us now.
I don't like it.
Maddie frowned, her eyes moving between them and the airship.
But you're right.
Tom sighed, before kneeling down and staring at the two.
Alright, but you guys be careful.
He said, seriousness in his voice.
Come back alive, all of you.
We will.
Sonic promised, raising his hand for a fist bump. Tom smiled and raised his own, Maddie joining them. They all looked expectantly at Knuckles, who just stared at them in confusion.
Come on, you two.
Madison encouraged.
What are you doing?
He questioned, puzzled.
That's a fist bump, what shows his symbol of an unbreakable vow.
The hedgehog explained with a smile of his own. Knuckles looked down at their hands and slowly added his own. They gently bumped their fists before turning their faces up.
All right, let's do this.
Sonic said, everyone nodding in agreement. It was really easy to trick Robotnik into capturing them. Actually, all it took was a little bit of taunting and some fake chasing for him to procure 2 metal clasps, just like the ones that took Tails. Sonic and Knuckles faked struggle, making sure the madman was convinced they were trying to escape. Knuckles almost managed to destroy his bind, but luckily noticed it in time and lowered the amount of power he put into his punches. Soon enough, the two were deposited inside glass cells aboard the airship. They banged against the wall, testing the sturdiness.
How nice of you two to drop by.
Robotnik laughed from where he stood by the console.
Where's Tails?
Sonic growled, completely ignoring the man's greeting. Robotnik grinned so widely, both Knuckles and Sonic feeling chills traveling up their backs.
Wait, he's right here.
The doctor said, pushing one of the buttons on the console. In the middle of the room, a glass cell lit up, similar to the ones they were stacked in. Inside, hanging on the metal clasps was
Tails!
Both the hedgehog and the echidna cried out at the sight of their brother. The fox stirred and raised his head, looking at the two from half-opened eyelids.
Sonic! Knuckles!
He croaked, his voice almost inaudible. They stared at him in horror. Tails looked barely alive. His fur lost its vibrant yellow color. Looking ashen, his chest was barely moving. Breathing was labored and they could see he was fighting.
What did you do to him?
Sonic demanded, his fur sparkling with blue energy.
Why did you take him?
To be fair, I wasn't exactly planning to take him.
Robotnik replied with a low smile.
To be fair, I wasn't exactly planning to take him. I was actually aiming at you. He got in the way, but you know what they say. You don't look the gifted horse in the mouth, or the fox between the tails. In case.
He laughed at his own joke. Sonic saw Knuckles' fist clench in anger, and he felt his own do the same.
Well, he does the trick, so no harm done, I suppose.
The man shrugged and Sonic blinked, freezing at the menacing tone.
What do you mean?
He asked, although he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer.
How about I show you?
Robotnik suggested and turned back to the console. He pushed several buttons and the machinery hummed to life. Tails' eyes suddenly snapped open, wide in horror.
No, please.
He begged desperately, trying and failing to escape the binds.
Please, no more, please.
The rest of his words were cut off, silenced by the ear-piercing scream. Tails thrashed, pulling at his arms, legs and tails, screaming at the top of his lungs. Yellow energy swirled through his fur, through the metal bendings, down the wires and disappeared in the darkness of the ship. His eyes glowed with the same color, and there were tears falling down his cheeks.
Stop it. You're hurting him.
Sonic cried, hitting the glass again and again, desperately wishing for this transparent wall to break.
Watch closely, Sonic.
Robotnik laughed over Tails' cries.
When I finish with your friends, this will be your fate.
And with another mad cackle, he pushed the big button on the console. Their eyes went to the screens, with a ray of yellow energy. Tails' energy shot through the sky and hit the forest. Seconds later, the only thing left where it landed was the smoking crater. The machine's hum died, and only then Tails stopped screaming. He slumped in his binds, head falling to his chest and eyes closing in an instant.
I wonder.
Robotnik's voice cut through the stunned silence.
If the fox has that much power.
He turned to Sonic with a sick grin.
How much can you pull?